Hello again, everybody. I'm Chris. I'm all set to count down the 40 most played country records in the USA, compiled by Mediabase 24/7 for the week ending September 6, 2025. Before I get started counting down this week's biggest hits, let's take a look back at last week's top three. At number 3 was Backup Plan by Bailey Zimmerman and Luke Combs. Number 2 was Good News by Shaboozey. And the number 1 song last week was After All the Bars Were Closed by Thomas Rhett. Now, can Thomas hang on to number 1 again this week? Let's find out starting right now. Here's the first of the 40 biggest hits, Morgan Wallen and Post Malone, spending a second week at number 40 with I Ain't Coming Back. We have one debut this week, coming in at number 39. It's a newcomer from the state of Texas. His name is Ty Myers. He's a 17-year-old newcomer with his first chart hit called Ends of the Earth. And with that one debut, we say goodbye to one dropper, and that's Country Song Came On by Luke Bryan. On with the countdown, up a notch to number 38. Here's Tim McGraw and Parker McCollum with Paper Umbrellas. Up 1 to 37, it's Chris Janson with Me and a Beer. Slipping a notch to 36 is Miranda Lambert and Chris Stapleton with A Song to Sing. At number 35, up a notch, our third Chris in a row, Chris Young with Till the Last One Dies. Up 3 spots to 34, one of 2 songs tied for this week's biggest mover. It's Preston Cooper with Weak. At number 33, up a notch, here's Max McNown with Better Made for You. Up 1 to 32, here's Ernest with What If I Could. And at number 31, up a notch, here's Megan Patrick with Golden Child. And just her third week in the countdown, she's up a notch to number 30, Megan Maroney with 6 Months Later. Holding steady at number 29 is Justin Moore with Time's Ticking. Up 2 spots to 28 is Dylan Scott with What He'll Never Have. Slipping back a spot to 27, it's Party with Favorite Country Song. At number 26, up a notch, is Megan Maroney and Kenny Chesney, You Had to Be There. Up 3 spots to 25, the other song tied for this week's biggest mover. It's Riley Green and Ella Langley with Don't Mind If I Do. Up a notch to number 24, Blake Shelton with Stay Country or Die Trying. Up 1 to 23, George Burge and It Won't Be Long. In their 30th week in the countdown, they spent the second one at number 22, Rascal Flatts and the Jonas Brothers with I Dare You. At number 21, in their 21st week on the chart, here's Parmalee up 2 spots with Cowgirl. In his 27th week in the countdown, he spent another week at number 20, Keith Urban with Straight Line. At number 19, up 2 spots, Zach Top and Good Times and Tan Lines. Up 1 to 18, here's Tucker Wetmore with 3, 2, 1. At number 17, up 1, it's Hudson Westbrook with House Again. Up 1 to 16, Parker McCollum with What Kind of Man. Up a notch to number 15, Lainey Wilson with Somewhere Over Laredo. Up 1 to 14, it's Eric Church with Hands of Time. Holding position at number 13 is Jackson Dean and Heavens to Betsy. Up 2 spots to 12, it's Chase Matthew with Darlin'. And just a step away from the top 10, at number 11, is Luke Combs with Back in the Saddle. Alright, here's the first of the 10 biggest hits, climbing a notch to number 10, racking up his 11th top 10 hit. It's John Party and Friday Night Heartbreaker. Up a notch to number 9, Morgan Wallen and I Got Better. Well, Morgan has back-to-back hits as he slips 2 spots to number 8 with his recent number 1 hit, Just in Case. At number 7, up a notch, it's Jordan Davis, Bar None. Up 1 to number 6, Jelly Roll and Heart of Stone. At number 5, it's last week's number 1, Thomas Rhett and After All the Bars Are Closed. At number 4, up a notch, it's Scotty McCreery and Hootie and the Blowfish with Bottle Rockets. The third most played country hit this week is Russell Dickerson up a notch with Happened to Me. The number 2 song for the second week in a row, it's Shaboozey with Good News. And the new number 1 song in country music this week, taking 17 weeks to get here, climbing from number 3 to number 1, racking up his 5th number 1 hit, it's Bailey Zimmerman. He gives Luke Combs his 23rd chart topper. Her hit is called Backup Plan. And that is our countdown of the 40 most played country records of the week. Join me again next week. We'll count them down once again, and we'll find out who's got the number 1 country hit in the USA. Thanks for listening.